Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Practical Founders Podcast, where every week we hear an amazing story from a serious founder who built a valuable software company and did it without big funding. This week, my guest is Jesse Burrell, the CEO and co-founder of Batch Service. Batch Service has an amazing growth story, and the real estate property investment industry here in the United States. They got started in the data side of the business, providing better data for investors and real estate agents to take part in the real estate investing game, built software products, grew extremely fast, and then post-COVID, interest rate changes, regulation changes, had to retract a little bit. He just sold off a major part of his business and kept the B2B side. It's an amazing growth story from a serious practical founder in a vertical industry, and he is re-energized with a refocusing after a few challenging years. It's one of those amazing growth stories with Jesse Burrell. Hey, Jesse, welcome to the Practical Founders Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a good couple weeks.
Yeah, a good couple weeks. Are you in Phoenix today, my old stomping grounds?
I am in Las Vegas getting ready for another podcast. As we talked off air, we could get into it, but I carved out part of my business, so I'm kind of on a PR tour as we speak.
A PR tour here. So let's get right to it. You got some news today before we talk about your business here. What's the big news, Jesse?
So we actually were lucky enough to have an organic conversation with actually our biggest competitor, and they ended up wanting to carve out two of our B2C products. So last Tuesday, we sold to them on July 1st, and then the B2B offering that we have, we're now servicing them as well. So it's a long-term partnership. It's really exciting, and the employees that are going over there, which is about 100, so a lot.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
They all have jobs. They all have opportunity for growth, and I couldn't be more excited for how this happened. And I don't feel like it's always a win-win when you're going to sell or carve something out, and this truly feels like it is. Like, literally, the podcast I'm doing, the CEO of the company that bought us is coming out. We're doing it together. We're very friendly.
How fun.
We're on the same page. It's a dream scenario, to be honest with you, Greg.
Okay. Well, and you, Jesse, built a big enough company that you had multiple products and some complications in there, and B2B products, B2C products, and got a little overwhelming. And, as the market changed, and you made a change there. So let's just get right into it here. What is Batch Service these days? And then we'll go back to the journey. But, you still you just transacted here, but tell us about Batch Service. What is it, and who does it serve?
I mean, now moving forward, it will be Batch Data. It will be one product moving forward.
Okay.
But what it was is we're a proptech company, so we have we had Batch Dialer and Batch Leads, which were they service real estate investors, real estate agents, home service people, to where it was Batch Leads was a lead generation tool. Mm-hmm. People would pull lists, do outreach to homeowners that they wanted to get in contact with.
Yeah.
There's also direct mail in there, a whole bunch of things. Think of kind of a mini CRM / outbound marketing tool. And then a dialer was Predictive outbound dialer. And
with the data for this residential real estate property and the data in the U.S.
Yes, all in the U.S. We're nationwide between the two products. We had over 10,000 customers, and the competitor that bought us, their name is PropStream. They're a very big company. They've been around actually since 2007. They've always had a great product, and I reached out to the CEO last October. I was just trying to sell him our contact information and our data to be like, hey man, we have some really good stuff. It's really good. We're known for this stuff. You're going to buy it from someone. You could buy it from us. We could figure out a way to potentially, make sure that, because you could spin it both ways. They could have a competitive advantage. We could sign some NDAs, but, people are going to go to what UX, UI, or what influencer is pushing the product. And I was like, we're really focused on this B2B side, and it's a big part of our growth trajectory. And I jokingly said, I was like, I'd sell you Batch Leads and Batch Dialer, like, just to prove a point. And he looks at me, he goes, really?
Would you really?
And I'm like, huh. And I was like, well, for the right price. And he's like, no, like, is it something you would consider? Like, are you just saying that, or like, would you? And
Yeah.
like, I was on the call with one of my founding partners, and I was like, we would. I'd have to, it'd have to make sense, and I'd have to understand what your guys' plans are, but it's something we could talk about. And it's everything kind of is timing. And it sounds like a couple weeks before that, they had one of their quarterly planning meetings, and they were open to inorganic growth. Their CEO, so Stuart Title owns PropStream, so they're publicly traded, and they have these big ambitious goals, and there's no one big enough to really like make it worth transacting besides us. So like, and we really do want to focus on the B product, and we kind of got the B2C where we could get it to, and they're really good at what they do. They really are. And it was tough to continue to
Yeah.
just get into their market share. And we just got to talking, and we're like, why can't we just build, like, with both of our products together? It could be an incredible product for the community and the people we serve. And it really would be, we call it like the super app. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how it got going. And then it was mine and his job to sell Stuart on why this is going to be fruitful on the long-term strategic and monetary side of things for them to, they buy companies, they buy them in cash, and that's the type of transactions I like. So it's honestly been just a dream come true. I've never been more energized. Now I just want to go sell the B2B side for even more and continue to service all those people on that B2B side of things as well.
It's really interesting here. You've built a bootstrap company, got really big, and we'll go through it. But you had your market changed. You had B2B products, B2C products. This is a typical story of a strategic acquisition, but you didn't sell your whole company. So we'll get into that, right? It's really interesting. You sold a piece of your company, which wasn't a good fit for you guys long term. It was a better fit for them. So what is the B2B side of your business these days in the, property data and marketing tools
Yeah.
and
So,
sales
so
tools?
now,
Yeah.
so obviously we had batch leads, which we had a ton of customers. So, on the back end, we aggregated our own data. We had a lot of proprietary data. So we'd source from a bunch of different places, and then we would improve it, alter it, have our own algorithms, make it our own thing. So we have our own
Yeah.
derivative products of everything. And that would fuel, batch leads and batch dialer. And at the time we had batch skip tracing, which is now folded into batch data, but that's just contact enrichment where people could, that's just going in
Yeah.
self-service. And someone has a list, they want contact information, they just pay for it. That's
Data
more like a
enrichment.
pay-go
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my partner looked at me and he's like, why couldn't other companies like us use our backend and use our APIs and use our bulk data? So we basically fuel other businesses like ourselves, or like what batch leads and batch dialer were that. So we're fueling the back end of all these other prop tech companies now, and that's kind of been our
With data.
focus. So we have a ton of, like, Crexy uses our contact information now. PropStream uses a bunch of data sets from us. Daikin, the HVAC company, the huge Japanese company, just signed a huge contract with us. I don't even know what it's for. I'm assuming they didn't tell us. It's some type of marketing campaign. They have like permit data, a whole bunch of data sets to where they're doing some crazy stuff. So different sales cycle, but our churn is just so different than from a B2C or micro customer in that avenue that was on the batch lead sides. You have just a real estate agent that wants something. They may not stick around like a big company is going to. So
just to put a point on this, if I'm a real estate agent, I'm in Park City, Utah. There's a lot of real estate going on. I could go to one of your services and get better data about the houses and the people. If I wanted to market my vacation rental management service, or I'm a real estate agent and
right.
I could go to one of your products and get good data about what's going on here, and then other tools to hurry up and market that. And did you sell off your kind of SaaS tools and you're kind of back to the data engine business?
Exactly. So
okay.
Yeah. So for example, like a real estate agent like that wants to get new listings, we literally have LLM models and machine learning stuff going on in the background to where they could click a button in a zip code in Park City. We could tell you the most likely to sell homes. Like, And we've tested it, and it's like within the next 6 months, 90% of those are gonna sell. It's pretty crazy, some of the tools that we've created that some of these people still don't take advantage of. They're like, I don't know who I should reach out to, especially, realtors work their sphere. They do a lot of open houses.
Oh,
We
yes.
could tell you, here's the people that you need to reach out to. This is, if you're good at selling and you're good at your job and you're good at being a realtor, and we could help you get in front of them. From there, it's on you to close the customer.
Well, that's interesting. So not only is it just data, and people know the data services, and I get marketed to with the data, through the data, but your good data plus this intelligence, or I guess the AI front end that says which ones are most likely and where should I, just get me to the answer quickly, right? That kind of thing. You don't like if you had an advisor, that spent a half a day with every real estate agent to tell them exactly what to do, right? Your software has that intelligence built in, like smart data.
Yeah, it already does. And luckily, PropStream, who we partner with, has a huge budget. They're much further along in that real estate agent market. And that was something that we had that they didn't. So it's something that they're very excited to have. It's really funny. A lot of the stuff that they weren't great in, we were, and a lot of stuff that we were not great in, like, because we had two exactly competitive products, they were great in. So I'm just like, more than anything, I'm excited for the customer that we service, because it's just going to help them get that many more deals. And that's why both of us started these companies. And PropStream sold to Stewart 3 years ago. So they had practical founders, sold, exited, and then a new CEO came in.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic. He's been in the MLS and proptech world for like 20 years. So it's funny, they've made the two biggest acquisitions in our specific niche space, and Stewart's definitely going to dominate that space. That's their goal, is really have a stranglehold on it, which is interesting from from an outsider looking in, and even me being a part of it to some degree. But I'm like, wow, they're doing some pretty big things over here.
Well, let's get a sense of the scale of your previous business and what you sold, and how many customers, revenue, and employees in each one of those. This isn't a little startup. So, Jesse, can you just take us through, like, how big was all of this? And
yeah, we started in 2018 with our first product, which was batch skip tracing. Then soon after, batch leads and dialer came. And before we knew it, in the peak, I mean, we had over 200 employees as we were growing and scaling, and we touched our highest year, I think, about 35 million in total revenue. That's not all subscription revenue. There's pay-go in there, and because we had a lot of services and stuff people could do inside of the app to pay for and stuff. So there was subscriptions, but the lifetime value was different, because and people were spending thousands of dollars.
Consumption transaction business. In the boom time, was that COVID boom in real estate?
Yes. And then, obviously, a lot of things shifted. Some regulations. We had a lot of people doing cold texting. Those regulations changed. That definitely, that actually hurt us in a multitude of ways. And I mean, it cost us between $5 and $8 million a year. So, I mean, that hurt. That was a lot of money. As we're scaling, as we're growing, it just flipped on us. And then soon after, the mortgage rates shifted in the fastest they have in a long time. So we got hammered. Talk about like a couple hooks to the face. That's why I'm so proud of what we were able to do and fight and claw and do all those things.
But you went up really rapidly in this boom time as a bootstrapped founder and grew the company. And then the market changed, the regulations changed. How and you guys had multiple products by then. You were already a multi-product company. But how, what was the size of the business, and employees and revenues before you sold off to
So we had, on the side that we sold, we had about 100 employees still. So 90 to 100, I think, went over to PropStream. I don't know the exact numbers. I know 90 to 100. And I think those two products were run rating to do like 16 million or so this year, give or take. And then the B2B side should do about 7 million this year. And then the skip tracing side will do 1.5 million or so. But we're keeping the skip tracing, and that's a pay-go thing. And then the B2B side, they basically bought a company that's run rating to do about $16 million.
Right.
or two products.
Yeah. And was the batch data, batch leads, the part that you just sold off to PropStream, was that the thing that raced up so high during
The leads and
COVID?
dialer we
Yeah.
sold. The
Yeah.
batch data we're keeping.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Right. Was the dialer? Did all three? Did everything surge in those times, or just the ones that
No,
you sold off? Yeah.
batch data we really struggled with at that time. We didn't know how to price it. We didn't know how to package it.
Okay.
We were new to the B2B space. We got in for I was a wholesaler. I was a real estate investor. I was a real estate agent. I knew how to go service those people. So it took us some time to hire the right people. So as that revenue was retracting, the B2B was expanding, but the B2C was so much higher. Like the B2B didn't even make a dent in it during that time.
Right. But I'm sure it's better business, stickier, higher margin, all that good stuff, right? That goes on forever. Well,
Exactly.
that's exciting here. So, and you had, I guess, a compression after COVID here. That was probably pretty difficult. We'll go through this, and I guess it's a little relief to, get back to a focus that's really laser focused and clear, where you can be the best in your market. And can you say how much you sold off your, two products and such to
It was
upstream?
multiple eight figures of a cash deal. I don't know
Yeah.
if Stuart
No,
wanted to
it's
give us
okay.
exact numbers, but we were happy, they were happy, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. Is it made sense for us to where we get to take another bite at a much higher multiple on something we get to
Right.
be focused on. Um,
Yeah.
and I only have about 30 employees now instead of 130, and the leadership that's in place there is very, very good. So I actually get to focus a lot more on doing stuff like I'm doing with you, and really letting people know about who we are, what we are
Yeah.
now, and if you never heard of us, what we do, and if you have heard of
Yeah.
us, this is how we've changed. And that's going to be a big part of my focus, is really repositioning the brand and the brand awareness. And I couldn't be more excited.
Okay. Well, and you're back to, let's say, back to your roots, really, a focused game, selling hard and all of that, as opposed to this, multi-product, pretty large company, right? And that was, a portfolio kind of approach. I'm sure that was complicated as well. Multiple products. I mean, like bigger companies that acquire practical founders and put it in a product suite and so forth. They have a portfolio approach. The stars, the dogs, the invests, and all of that, and doing the matrix of sales, marketing, customer support across a dozen products, that kind of thing can get really complicated. Did that feel really complicated and heavy to you and your team, just to keep
It
track of all of these things?
Yeah, and then just having different departments, different silos, and then different teams were focused on different things. So it's like if one side of the business won, they're excited. The other side didn't, or had a good month or a bad month. It's really tough
Yeah.
to have months where the company holistically was winning and everyone felt like they won.
Yes.
I wouldn't
Oh, right.
change what we did because we created something really cool, but I just didn't realize the amount of manpower it would take. And like the leadership team was spread thin because, we don't have,
Yeah.
executives for each product or anything like that. And
Yeah.
they just never felt like they could, there was always something to fix or some problem to solve, to
Right.
where going hard and deep strategically, or especially to do all three or four of them at the time, is like you never had enough time to drill deep into all of them.
Yeah.
And it was just expensive. It was I didn't realize how expensive it would be to have proper focus on each product. And that was a very much a lesson well learned, I guess. If I were to do it again, and
Mm.
we've already talked about this, is we would have the products already in one place to where it would have been more cohesive, because I didn't even intentionally start a software company. This was like falling into it ass backwards, and before I know it, I'm building something to sell. I was just trying to solve my own problems as a real estate investor to get more flips, more rentals, and more wholesale deals.
Yeah.
And 7 years later, I'm talking to you about how I sold a company and how I'm going to sell it at the other side for even more in a couple of years.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like, the growth equity, private equity, common exit plan for practical founders, selling the company, a majority of it, and then rolling some more. And, but it's a version of this. You cashed out on,
It's a little different because I
as you
sold
say, a little,
100% of something, but still own
yeah, right.
100%. of something
Right.
else, which I like way better. And we only have a 6-month consulting agreement on the transition with
Yeah. Then
PropStream,
you're
which is
done. Yeah.
incredible. They could renew us for another 6 months, but I think we'll be pretty dialed in by that
Yeah.
time. But if they want to pay me more money for a couple hours a week, like I'm not going to complain for the second
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah. But you get it like a two bites approach. You have a win for everybody, co-founders and you, and cash in the bank. And, but you're like almost spinning out a product, and from that kind of transaction, you could almost look at that way. Another thing that's interesting here is, as let's say a new CEO and a young practical, startup here, you were multi-product, channel pretty quickly, and it got pretty complicated. That's actually the game of like much larger companies. Like you got to introduce to the weight, the complexity of multi-product, multi-channel, multi-region. Can you imagine that? For big companies, and that's generally what they're good at. But it's not that focused race that you're onto now. You said before that you were a real estate agent, a wholesaler, a real estate investor, that kind of thing. How long were you doing that before you stumbled into this software and data business?
So I got into, I think 2013, I got into real estate, but I mean, as you saw, I'm not good at going slow with either side of the business. So I mean, I did over 500 flips and wholesale deals, and owned 70 rentals at one point, and I'd only been doing it for like 5 years. So
Yeah.
I bought and sold properties in, I think, 48, 49 states. Sold.
So, and you're in Arizona, and I was in Arizona, and there was a ton of, flips and real estate and investors and so forth in Arizona. It was one of the hot spots. It wasn't really just Arizona?
Yeah, no, I mean, I sold a property in Alaska and Florida in the same month before.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I don't know how to go slow. That's why me and my partner's like, okay, we could slow down and like we'll take a little more time off. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that, guys. Like I'm not good at it. So I'm excited to see what I could do, be singularly focused
Yeah.
on one thing. And it's been so long since I've been able to do that. It's like I look at my week and it's not chaos. So I could actually like sit down and dig in and focus on getting through important things without feeling rushed. And it's been a long time since I've been able to do that.
I totally get that. And the world is changing with real estate, with AI and technology. So the ones who can move fast and do the right things fastest right now, there's a lot of advantage for those companies as opposed to the slow movers in the matrix that can't move very fast here. So were you like a top 5 or 1%, real estate flipper, I guess you'd say, or a real estate
Yeah,
investor?
oh, for sure. I was in some of the biggest masterminds. I still am because just of the software side of things and servicing those people. But
Mhm.
it's
Where
I
the
haven't.
top tier folks would get together and compare notes about what they're doing, because it's a totally different game than a couple properties and casual real estate and all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's a marketing. It's really a marketing company that's strong in sales as well. But everything's fueled by the marketing engine, and finding the right properties, finding people in the situations that you could help to where it can make sense to where you can make money on the flip. They're in a situation where they have just a house that they inherited or is awful, or they don't want to deal with anymore, or they can't make
Yeah.
the repairs and they don't want to put it on the market. And I was able to find ways to make it make sense for me as a business and for them to. I was like, you're not going to get the highest price with the fastest close date and the best contingencies. Like you have to pick a couple. Like you can't get all of it. So like if you want this to be simple, if you want it to be cash and you don't want to have to worry about when it's going to sell, I'm your person. If you want to get top dollar, take it to the market, but just understand you're going to have to pay an agent. They're going to ask for concessions. It could fall out of
Yeah.
contract. Like, here's your non-refundable earnest money. I'm ready to go. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's do this or not. So that was kind of my approach when I was focusing on the real estate investing side. And I would keep some as rentals. I would do some as flips, and then I would wholesale others that I just decided I didn't want to do, or I had too much money deployed.
So did you have investors to go
No,
after all of this?
I had enough money pretty quickly to do them on my own, and then you
You
could get
you
hard money
bootstrapped
from
this, right? Flip and then get a cash pile and start, expanding that and right?
exactly.
Okay. It probably made you stay away from funding when you started the software side is like, let's get this thing going. Let's
I was
sell. Let's
very
start selling.
fortunate. Me and my two founding partners, they're brother and sister, so they had their own real estate op. I had
Oh.
mine, and this was just like a side hustle to for ourselves at the very beginning.
Mhm.
And then about a year later, we combined our real estate operation, so we were making a ton of money. And it was tougher for me to want to do that because like I was 100% owner and then going to a third. I was like, you know how much money we have to do to have this make sense for me? But I saw the long play in the software, and we had separate offices, we had separate teams. It was just starting to become cumbersome, and like we
Wow.
were engaged for a while, right? So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, it's time to get married. I believe in the mission. I believe in the vision. We also such different skill sets. There was never
Yeah.
no. I just knew like because I read Rocket Fuel during that time by
Right.
Gene something, and that really kind of solidified that I'm like, okay, like these are my integrators. I'm the visionary, and I'm lucky to have two integrators.
Mhm.
So I just dreamed this big shit up, and they go build it for me. So I mean, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Great. So what was the pain that you all felt as uh, flippers and wholesalers and real estate investors? You said it's mostly about finding the properties. Did you just, you were frustrated with the data and you thought you could do it better? I mean, let's go play with this,
So
for your own use.
yep, the data, the contact information, and then how to organize and keep track of the data. What have we already marketed to? What have we not? Um,
Yeah.
who have we
Uh-huh.
got in contact with? Who have we not? There wasn't very good softwares out there at that time. So Evo, he's more of the technical founder, even though he had no idea what software was. I think he has a photographic memory. He's a truly brilliant person, but he's Bulgarian. He's like, I'll figure it out. And I'm just like, okay. Because he's just building it for us because we were starting to like help
Yeah.
each other. We met at a mastermind in the real estate space,
Ah.
and 7 months later, he like built something that was really cool. And then I was like, "Are we selling this? This is better than like what than the software that we're paying for is." And he's like, "Let me see if payment processing can happen." And then he
Oh,
goes and figures it out. And a couple months later, we're selling the product.
wow. And how long did you, run your real estate investment company and have the software before the software was up and running and it was like a real business? Did it go fast or was this
Uh,
a couple
from
years
start
of
to
a
finish,
slog?
about
Yeah.
2 years. So,
Yeah. Right.
like right when we started getting going, 2 years later, we were growing so fast on the software side. Like we couldn't even keep up with demand. We couldn't keep up with hiring, and we're
Oh,
like, all right, we got to shut down this real estate investing side. Like we were failing all around, and we were already on our second product, building our third for the batch service brand. And we're like, we can't do wholesale too, and real estate and flipping. And so like Annie, his sister, the other partner, she was kind of focusing on the real estate investing. Me and Evo were focusing on the batch service, but operationally, me and Evo absolutely suck. So Annie's like, you're hiring these people and there's no SOPs, there's no onboarding. She's like,
yeah.
you guys, but she's like, you guys are so good at what you do and you're growing like
Yeah.
crazy. Keep doing that. So she's like, all right, we got to shut this down. Let me go take over ops. Let me go hire HR. Let me go build out the
There we
finance
go.
team.
Right.
Let me. And like
Well,
when
that's a nice way to do it. Sell first, build second, operations third, right?
yeah,
If no sense building something if you can't sell it, or building operations if can't build it, or something like that. So that makes sense to me. Was there? I mean, that's like a multi-business. You've been in the multi-business game for all these years, like real estate investing, and then multiple sides now of your software company. Are you in any real estate investing now? You know?
uh, not really. I'm in some syndications, but like everything is pretty passive for me now.
Okay, right.
I have a couple of properties, but like, I mean, I got a nice pile of money.
Yeah.
Thank you, props from Stuart Title. So I may get like a vacation home, but I wouldn't call that real estate investing. That's more of something that I'm going to purchase for myself and maybe rent out on, short-term vacation rentals occasionally.
Well, you were making good money with your property business before that, and closing it down. Like a lot of real estate just went straight up for the last 10 years, before COVID and all of that. And I'm sure you did well with that. How much do you think you invested in, whether if you could put a number on it, cash and time in the software business to get it going? Did you spend millions? Because you guys were doing well. Did you spend millions to get your software business up and running before it was cash flowing? Or,
like up and running? No. So.
Yeah, right.
This is going to just make me look even that much luckier, but right timing matters. So when we first started, we were really just selling the contact information. So people would give us their marketing list. We would give them the phone numbers. And when we first started, we basically signed a big contract with a vendor, and we were basically just wholesaling the phone numbers. We were paying, at that time, I think like the margins were crazy because this was brand new. We were paying like 8 cents and selling it for 18 cents. And our customers pay us up front, and then we have like a net 30 on the back end. So like it never cost me $1 to get it started. And on that side of the business, we made so much money so quickly. I mean, we were at like 300K in revenue, like our fourth month. And that margin is over 100%. We had a couple VAs processing orders, no paid marketing, no anything. So, but with that money, that's when we went and built batch leads. That's when we went and built batch dialer. So like real estate money in, $0. Like this was self-funded from the jump, and we just got extremely lucky to make a bunch of money that we're paying a vendor like on the back end, you know what I mean, and getting the clients to pay first. So it was a dream scenario, especially at that time. Like my dad, I remember, because he's like, when I started real estate investing, he's like, okay, I don't get what you're doing. And then I told him I started selling phone numbers, and he's like, what? He's like, what is that? And I was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna make a bunch of money though. And he's like, okay.
That's right. So you weren't trying to be in the software business. I was in the Phoenix area. I knew most of the software founders in town and was helping out a lot. I built 2 big companies in Phoenix before that, but I didn't meet you. You were just kind of, seeing what you could do to solve the problems. It wasn't like you dreamed to be a SaaS founder, right?
Not at all. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I knew I wanted to build like something bigger like this. Is always something I dreamed of maybe not quite as big, like that wasn't intentional, but once we got on the rocket ship, I'm like, all right, like, let's see where this goes. And it definitely got bigger than I wanted it to, because like, I didn't realize, and being the CEO too, is like, I have equal founders, but I'm still looked at differently. It falls on me. If something fails, they look at me. And I used to like get frustrated because, my founders, who are my equal partners, didn't get looked at the same, but we have different roles and different jobs, and I'm the one that signed up for this title. I'm the one that is supposed to burn this. But there was days, especially when it was tough, where I was like, why don't they fucking ever get this? Like, come on, dude. People are bitching at me. I'm like, like they're making these decisions with me. Sometimes they're vetoing my opinion and going a different direction, and it still falls back on me. And I make sure that they're aware of that. I'm like, hey, this decision is going to affect me more than you guys if it doesn't work.
This podcast is brought to you by my friends at Fullscale. 2 years ago, I interviewed 3-time software founder Matt Watson on this podcast about his successful practical founder journeys. Matt leveraged offshore software development talent in his last 2 SaaS companies to staff up quickly and grow efficiently. So for his 4th venture, Matt created Fullscale, one of the fastest growing software development companies in any region. Fullscale vets, employs, and supports over 300 professional software developers and testers in the Philippines who can augment and extend your core dev team. I know several practical SaaS founders who use Fullscale's dev talent to make progress on their products and do it efficiently. Visit fullscale.io to learn why their approach works so well for so many SaaS founders. Now back to our program. Right. And you're talking about after it ran up and everything was working, right? It was all sweetness and light, everything's working. And then if the market changed, the regulations changed, post COVID and everything. And did you have layoffs and, big strategic decisions and those kind of things?
We did. We waited as long as we could, to be honest with you, and we tried to fight through it. And it was just, as I said, the texting regulations changed, and then people at that time are purchasing a lot less phone numbers, and then people are getting out of the business because it got harder, or people got scared, and it was just tough. Honestly, it's just a combination of things, and we slowly did like a handful. So like there was one, I'd say like kind of bigger chop, and it was like maybe 20, 30 people total, which still is like 15% of the org at the time. Yeah. But I mean, we didn't want to do it, and it was so frustrating because we did battle back in this last year and a half. We've grown again, and the revenue's up on all products, and the subscriber count is up. But like we had to get to a place to where we were profitable and we could see profit, and we had to protect our downside to some degree. So it was hard for sure.
Yeah. That's founders who are in this long enough know you kind of acknowledge a little bit of luck and timing to get this thing going, and everything went pretty well. But stuff happens in vertical markets. Regulations change, markets change, AI is changing things. It'll shift things around. Platforms change, competitors change. It's really, really challenging. If you would have raised big VC funding, raised $30 million, and then you had this downturn thing, it would have been about 10 times more brutal, right? Because they're expecting you to be the billion-dollar company and you're not there. And, so I guess that's the good news, is you didn't raise funding along the way, and you stayed alive and kept your optionality and flexibility to be able to do the kind of deal that you just did.
Yeah, and I mean, me and you have similar views. We talked off camera a little bit, and I think most of the time it's I think it makes a lot more sense to be a practical founder and be bootstrapped. Like you could really get pretty nitty gritty to see if there's a product market fit, if you have any engineering or code skills, or partner with somebody, or give someone some equity when you're trying to build something. And so many people want to just like raise money and then burn it up before they even know if their idea is good or not. And then if it actually is, well, guess what? You have a boss. So you're not, you don't truly own your own business.
Right.
And they're going to care a lot more about, the profits than the mission. And the funnest part about this was we wanted to service a community and a group of people with a really good product. I got to do that the entire time. I still get to do it.
Right. A lot of these are your friends, right? And your customers, right? Yeah. Awesome. So back to the growth game. What was your go-to-market here? You built something amazing with some data to get up and running, and you started with the batch dialer and some other things that you knew were the next big thing. Were they just so amazing that people found out about it and bought it on your website? Or, what was your go-to-market strategy to fuel this mega growth?
Very simple. It was influencers that used our product that were big coaches in the space. We gave them a percentage. That was pretty early on in the affiliate influencer game. So it wasn't pay to play. We give them a percentage lifetime of the people they signed up, and they would get a percentage of those subscriptions. And there was at one point I was paying people between like 50 and 100K a month. That's how fast it blew up. So that was a strategy. That's what worked. And I was willing to share it because I could get a product from zero to over, a few $100,000 in monthly recurring in a quarter with no marketing dollars.
And you're selling to the serious end of this market, and they all listen to the serious players, the podcasters and the rest, and they will have the conferences and the education products and everything. And so and if you have their absolute endorsement, I use it, I love it, you should use it,
and they really used it too, or use it. So like that, if they weren't using our product and able to train on that product, because we were paying them, a cut of the monthly revenue, like I would tell people, no, you have to be using it in your business. You have to have the right following. Like if you want to get recurring revenue from me too, for the customers that, we're collectively signing up, you have to be using, like we had to be aligned. They had to be using it. They weren't using it. I wasn't interested.
Yeah. Well, I'm familiar with that game, and Fusionsoft helped a lot of those kind of influencers scale their marketing and automate their huge following and all of that. One of the big challenges is that lifetime recurring revenue. You help me get a software customer, we'll pay you a piece of that for as long as that customer keeps going, is different than cash on the barrelhead affiliate one-time fee, right? Maybe
Mhm.
that's effectively a
We've done
same
both,
percentage of,
to be
yeah,
honest with you. So
yeah. But the big guys got the lifetime, right?
yeah, like the really, really big guys, they were just so instrumental to. It wasn't just assigning the people up; it was the credibility. And then when people got into the platform, it was who they would tell and what they would do. There was such a snowball effect, especially
Right.
early on in the influencer marketing in 19, 20, 21, before it became what it is today. And the value of YouTube and the value of just how people value people's audiences now is a little bit different than it was, I'd say, 4 or 5
Yeah.
years ago.
Do you have any regrets about the lifetime? Now you're paying this lifetime annuity, and maybe these influencers aren't doing as much for you this month as they did before. Or is
That was that was
or is
kind
that
of
just the
part of the
price you pay?
game. It
Yeah,
was what we signed up for. I don't believe we do that anymore. I think now people
yeah,
just get the first year, like,
yeah. Okay,
it,
yeah,
and we shifted our focus away. Like, being dependent on them got us to where we needed to get,
yep,
but it didn't get us to where we needed to go.
yeah,
Because if someone got distracted and one of our big influencers didn't, we can't let that affect our revenue. So to get it started, it was vitally important because it got the brand awareness, it got that brand recognition, that brand loyalty, that stamp of approval. I mean, we're a known name. Like, you get in real estate, you're going to hear about
instantly.
PropStream, you're going to hear about Batch, and that
Yeah,
was because of all those years of them. But you know, about 2, 3 years ago, when everything shifted and people's money was going down, they're like, okay, this isn't worth my time anymore because there's not as many people signing up, or
yeah,
so as I said, snowball effect of things. And we made a huge conscious effort to make sure that our marketing was really good, that our funnels were really good, that
yeah.
our
You
ads
weren't.
were really good, and we worked really hard to make sure that we still want to service these guys and partner with them, but they can't affect our business.
Yeah, and you diversified your go-to-market channels as you
Exactly.
grew up as a normal kind of thing. You got started with the credibility, and it's like you didn't raise funding to go do marketing, right? You did a performance-based, partnership, right? That
Exactly.
said, we get the customer first, and we'll pay you later, right? You kind of cash flowed it. It's
Mhm.
another way to do it, and and if you really have awesome product market fit, you don't need as much funding, to flog a crappy product here. So really awesome. So was that like just everything was amazing for a few years and kind of everything worked and you just kept throwing, throwing out new things and
Yeah.
adding team members and you couldn't keep up kind of, that race?
Yes, like,
Wow.
completely. I had a couple years where I was pinching myself with the amount of money I was taking home every month. It was
And
just,
it was profitable and the founders were benefiting from that. Yeah.
oh, extremely, and it was it was pretty wild. But we rose quickly. So, as I kind of alluded to, and we've talked about, the fall hurt, especially when you felt invincible and you're like, oh, every
Oh,
idea is
yeah, everything
brilliant.
worked. Yeah.
So, you're good typically isn't you're not as good as you think you are, and when it's going good, and when it's going bad, it's not typically as bad as you think you are. A lot of it has to do with conditions and things that happen that are out of your control, and you're fighting that because you're an entrepreneur and you'll figure it out, and sometimes you just have to work through it. We stayed pretty patient, we stayed pretty calm, but there was a lot of nights, weeks, and months I went home feeling like a failure, and I don't think I was failing. I just think it was the conditions that we got put in. But it was really hard on my
Um,
mental. It was very, very tough to just do so well so quickly, and then just get punched so hard in the mouth with like a multitude of things in a short period of time, to where it questioned how good the good was too, and like, so it was
yeah.
it was a tough. It was definitely. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's taught me a lot, and it's going to teach me for this next bite of the apple, and for the next businesses I start. I'll definitely have a different outlook on how I grow, how I hire, when to pull back, when to really step on the gas. Does stepping on the gas necessarily mean more people, or does it just mean more marketing dollars? Or does it mean drilling into product further? I think we thought more people made more revenue, and that's not the case. I actually
More
think it
employees made
complicates
more
everything.
revenue? Was
So,
that more employees made more revenue? Or, yeah.
yeah.
It's a little bit of the VC funded, DNA, right? You get VC funding, a lot less for media funding. It's mostly about people, products, salespeople, all the rest of that kind of thing. And you were growing so fast growth, and it was happening. And then you got a little over it. So you started this company what year?
2018.
2018. You did the data thing, got profitable, started adding SaaS products, software products in there, and it grew up to 35 million. About what time was that? Was that like the end of 2021, when the heyday turned, like our .com turned way back when?
I think it was 21 or 22. I don't remember when rates shifted. That's when it really started hurting.
Yeah, it hurt a lot of businesses when rates shifted and slowed down the economy. And we all kind of, look back at the COVID tech boom, which hurt a lot of industries, but really helped a lot of tech. And everybody kind of had to recover from that. And it was almost a recession in software, for bigger companies that had grown too fast. Everybody had to get real really quickly. So that was 2022. So would you say that 22, 23, 24 was kind of, compression and all that pain and then like rebuilding slowly?
Yep. 22, 23 is when we got hammered. 24 slowly started to shift. And then the second half of 24 and 25 have been good, and growth has came back. I needed to find the bottom. I was just like, where's the bottom? Where's the bottom? Where's the bottom? And then let's build back up. We were still building a good product. We didn't stop on our innovation side of things. Like we had to reposition some pricing, some packaging, because the market shifted a little bit to where you just kind of had to give more value than like we were a little bit more of a premium product in some areas. And we unfortunately like hung on to that because I believe in what we built. But at the same time, it got to a point to where it's like, all right, people just don't care that much. You could maybe be a little more, but we're not that much better for the difference in cost. Once I mapped it out, and I was like, we have to change some things, and we were a little slow to do that, and that hurt us. But once all those changes were made in late 23, early 24, we really got to see the fruits over the last year and a half. And going through those 2 years of struggle made the sale like such an incredible feeling, but just made the battle back. Like we had to, for them to want to buy us, we had to be showing growth. Yeah. We had to be putting ourselves in a good direction, and we worked our butts off to get to a good place to where when they did say, hey, we're interested, I was able to show them something that, was still growing. I got to show them the technologies. I know it's a strategic roll up, so it's a little bit different, but Stuart's not going to want to buy something that is having a collapsing user count. They'd be like, well, why don't we just wait to bury you at that point?
Yes, right. That's right. So I've been through this with the .com from way back when. We grew fast in the late 90s, and then the .com boom happened in year 2000, and then it went even harder down than the COVID bust, in 2001, and everybody got back to reality. About like half of the tech companies on the NASDAQ went away that year, right? So it was really tricky. When you knew the world was changing, interest rates went up, regulations changing. You could see it in the numbers. It's going down. Looking back, do you think you should have moved faster to realign the business or reposition products or make those just strategic decisions? Or do you think you had the sense to kind of do them at the right pace, thoughtfully,
I think we did.
Right? Not too fast. I mean, because, that's a really tricky thing for CEOs, guiding their companies through a downturn.
Looking back, I think it hurt, but I think we did it the right way. I didn't want I didn't want to react so quickly to where there's a lot going on. It was different. We weren't used to, not winning, not growing. I had to take a step back, and like the biggest thing, like even with repositioning the employees and getting that right, like if you do too big of a layoff, you're gonna lose everyone's, I guess, safety net or comfort with the company. They're like,
Yeah.
well, they'll just do it again. We explained why we did it. We didn't take home money for almost a year. Like, we didn't draw a single dollar out of the company. We wanted
Right.
to make sure, and we let them know that when we laid these people off. We're like, hey,
Yeah.
the three of us have not taken any money for a year. We've done everything we can. Like, we have to get the amount of employees aligned with where our revenue is at today. It's not what it was a year ago. And, for the people that are staying, we have a path forward to start seeing it grow. But for now, this is what we have to do. And then realigning some of the pricing and packaging. I didn't want to overreact on that either. So, like, we weren't slow, but like, I didn't want to just like, we needed to make sure we're making the right decision.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
just took a little bit of time to get through it, but it was, don't let the product suffer. Make sure the great people still believe in the vision, and we'll figure it out. It may be hard. Luckily, me and my partners made a good amount of money. We invested it properly. We didn't have expensive bills, and we were able to collectively look at each other and say, hey, we may not take money home for a little while, but this company is what's most important, not what we're taking home for the next 6 months or year. And I was lucky enough to also have great partners that didn't live above their means to where we were in a position to do this, because that is not very much the case. And I have a lot of friends that have partners that spend all their money and live a super high life. And if they get put in a tough spot, they wouldn't have been able to do what we did.
Yeah. And do the right thing for the business and your employees and the products and your markets out there. How did you get through that? That sounds like a normal kind of VC, Silicon Valley, fast growth, and then something changes and you kind of have to retrench. And there's a lot of founders get a lot of help for those shifts. I mean, you're a bootstrap founder. You're probably your influencer friends weren't probably much help and advice about how to, retool a software company that grew up to scale. How did you get help to go through and make those strategic decisions about employees and your products and so forth? Did you get outside help, or was this just the things that you and your team did together?
Something me and the team did together,
Wow.
and we
Yeah.
have some really good executives that have a ton of experience as well.
Okay. Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
and we collectively talked through it, and no one knows our company and our situation like me and my partners, and
Of
I feel like
course.
we work well together.
Exactly.
And I don't need advice from someone that doesn't fully know the ins and outs. And like,
Actually, that's
it
right.
really was, all right, we got us here, we hired all the people, we made all these decisions. No one in our company made those decisions. No one that works for us made those decisions. We don't get paid. We fix this. That was a decision that
Yeah.
we made. However long it takes us to fix it is until we get paid. And that is how we treated it, and that's how we approached it. It was our decision to grow the way we did. It was our decision to hire and scale and just shoot for the moon. And it shifted on us, and we have to dig our way out of it. And how fast can we do it? And how can we keep the team together, the product great, and people trusting and like, hey, we went hard. It shifted. That's not all on us, but trust that we'll find to the other side. And I'm happy to say, as of a week ago, there's a lot of happy people on our team that get an opportunity to go be with another great company. And then I have employees that have been with me for a long time that get to see me very much focused on one thing. And
Mhm.
I believe both sides that are going each of their separate ways are very, very excited. And all that shit that I just talked you through is what led us to last week and what made all those hard nights worth it. And for
Awesome.
people listening, is like, when you're going through it, just it's perseverance. It's just get through it. Don't give up. Don't beat yourself up too bad. Like, just continue to plug along and get through it. It sucks. That's why you're a founder. You're crazy. And especially if you're bootstrapped, you're even crazier. And that's my advice, is just get through it. It's
Mm.
tough, but I'm a great example of getting through it and seeing the other side and seeing the fruits from all that hard work.
Yeah, it must feel really great to find a good home for the business and, validation. It's worth something substantial to a savvy player out there, and strategically it makes sense. So batch data is what remains there. Was that there in the beginning, or did that evolve as a new one of your many products that
Yeah,
was
that
just
that was
different
our
than the rest?
last product, to where as we built this robust API for, batch leads and fueling batch dialer and even batch skip tracing at the time.
Was the plumbing for all this? Yeah.
What?
It was the plumbing for all of this.
Yes. So we're like, other people want this plumbing. So this was the last one. This was the most recent one, and hence why it's kind of our baby now, because it's very different motion. A B2B sale is so different. So for me, it's been fun to learn something new. It's been fun. As I said, I don't come from software. I was a real estate guy. So what I learned there is like hire really, 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 really experienced and really, really, really good people that understand our space, that are just absolute sales and marketing monsters. And they actually probably lead. I kind of lead some of the things, but like there's a lot of autonomy because they know so much more than I do. I will question stuff. I will help. I definitely get to help with a lot of sales because we're selling to a lot of my friends, like big contracts. I'm almost like the world's most expensive SDR a lot of the time.
Well, that's amazing here. How big is this business now?
So we should end the year on a run rate of about $7 million ACV.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And we'll have about 32, 33 people, including me and my founding partners. So need a couple more. So we'll probably end the year about 35, 36 people in the org. And I think we could be sub 40 people and probably grow to close to $15 million in like ARR.
In the next year or over time?
Just saying, like, that's about as much as we need to get there. I would say the goal would be able to get to 10 by the end of next year. 10, 11 would be the goal for the end of next year. And then 15, like, I think there's a path by the end of 27 to get it 15. These are kind of conservative numbers.
Look at you, conservative numbers, Mr. Rocket Ride. Yeah.
I learned my lesson. It's not always going to look like that, and the B2B moves different. It's consistent. It's growing quarter over quarter. Our gross churn is 97%. Our net retention churn is 130% this year. It's great, but we have to find the right customers. Like our new mantra is like no bad contracts. Don't bring in the wrong people, even if they're willing to pay. Like we want them here for 3, 4, 5 years, not. We don't want them here for just a year.
Yeah. ICP only, your ideal customer profile only. You know what is a good customer. Don't let the bad ones in.
Exactly.
Awesome. So where can this go? If we go steadily to 15 million, more, let's say, traditional enterprise software and data kind of company, could this be $100 million company, or do you have a vision for growing it big and selling it, or what are you thinking about the future?
Me and my partners have some conversations to have. I don't know if we want to grow it to 50. I don't know if we want to grow it to 75. I don't know if we want to grow it to 100. We all have young families. We all have a lot of money. We already had a lot, and now we have more. And I would say none of us have to even go on this journey if that's not what you want. And we have conversations to have. It seems like all of us want to do this for at least a little bit. I just don't know. We're going to spend the next 60, 90 days figuring out what we want. And then I want to go vision cast to the team of like, here's our revenue. Here's where our goal is to get it to. This is how we get it there. This is when we get it there. This is, who has equity. And a lot of those people will have some sort of equity. And let's get all rowing in the same direction. Let's get excited about servicing the people we want to service, and let's go grow like crazy. And that's what I'm excited to do again, is like, it's going to be very focused. It's going to be very intentional, and I'm going to let the guys go kick some ass, to be honest with you. So I'm excited.
Well, I think it's a very wise, practical founder approach to say, I don't know yet exactly what's going to happen. It's not actually that useful to say, I need to get to 50 million in 4 years at this exact growth rate and sell it for, a certain amount, because that's made up as well. And more like Jason Fried says, you know what's going to happen anyway 4 years from now. So you might as well do the best you can this year, this month, right? This sprint.
I want to give him an idea of where we want to get it to, but things could always change. Like, give him, this is where we're at. This is where we need to get to. This is how we get there. and this is how you get paid. Some people are going to get their first bite at the apple on the team. Some people are going to get
Okay.
their second bite that are on the team. And you know what I mean? That I think the money matters to some degree. Obviously, it does matter to our employees, but like a lot of them just really appreciate that. Like, hey, you have equity in this. Like, here are your shares.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
you own
And
part of
do
the
they have
business.
stock options, traditional stock options, or some other kind of phantom
It's
shares? Or yeah.
it's phantom
Yeah.
stock. So
Okay.
like it,
Great.
it only triggers when we sell. That's how we'll do it again. But they
Okay.
if when and if we sell, and that's intention, and they've already seen us sell, so they know that we have no problem selling again. So it's not like we're giving them phantom stock with an intention to grow a cash cow and never sell. That's not our intention. I could be very clear. That's not my intention.
Okay.
I have other stuff I want to do. I have interest in doing stuff as of what you're doing to some degree. Is
Yeah.
having and building a community, and being able to help and share some of the success I've had with other bootstrap founders. So that's something that
That's
in
awesome.
the future I may be interested in paying it forward, and having a little side hustle to where I need to get compensated for all my knowledge and hard work as well as you do.
Right. Well, one of the things for practical founders who have done well already on their first bite or their first sale of a company, and they're on to the second bite or a second company or third company, is sometimes it's just as much fun to look at your employees and imagine the top 20 people having life-changing exits, right? Because you've already had your life change, and you could get them from challenged, financially to totally independent, and sometimes it's about what given back to the team there. Is that how you
Well,
guys think about it?
oh, definitely, but they want their cake and eat it too. They're already paid well, so
Ah, there we go. There we go.
they're
Right.
not financially struggling, especially on
Ah,
this
there we go.
B2B side. But
Excellent.
to really get that nest egg for them to really be like, I'm in a good place. Like if I don't want to work for a while, or if I want to figure out what's next, or if I want to start my own thing, you know, I can without having to go raise some money, and I could go, drop 20K on creating an MVP and doing my thing. And I have a couple people on my leadership team that I don't know if they're going to stay around for this side, and I might advise them not to. There's one person in particular that I think he's
Yeah.
ready. I think it's time for him to like, and I don't want to hold him back with dangling a carrot to where it makes it worth like. I think I'm just gonna have a real conversation. Be like, dude,
Yeah, yeah.
go
Yeah.
do what you did. If you want an investor, I'm here for you to some degree once you figure that out. And I think he has an idea of what he wants to do. But I'm it's just I've never been that guy. Like if you want to go do it and be crazy like me and go put your money on the line, which I think he's ready to do, and I think he'll be very good at it. So I was like, if I could help be on that board or be an investor early, like I believe in the vision. And some people want to grow this, and I'm just excited to see where this next chapter goes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could see the smile on your face, the relief of not having so many products and getting to the other side of the canyon that you crossed to get over here. It always feels good to have a chunk of money in the bank and a new kind of focus. Do you
Exactly.
feel like you want to build this company back up to be the CEO of 150, 200 people, or are you done with that?
No, I wanna keep it lean and mean. I wanna have it nice and profitable. I mean, I'm assuming we'll sell somewhere between 50 and 100 million, with kind of the goals I think me and my partners have. And I want to spend more time with my family, and
Yeah.
I want to start spending some more time helping other SaaS founders, and like just what I talked about. I have other dreams besides just building this
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
stuff that get me up in the morning. So
Yeah.
I don't want to do that again because I've already done it, and my son or children are only going to be young for so long, and I just want to spend some more time with them, honestly.
Yeah, that crazy growth game is very exciting. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and had some difficulties, but it's kind of all consuming, right? You as a portfolio entrepreneur have all these interests. I know you're a serious golfer, and you've got probably business ideas, a new one every day, and all kinds of vision and dreaming here. Did you have any time for anything else? Maybe a little family during the crazy growth years, or was it
No,
100% on this business?
I
Yeah.
did, but it was just always so much responsibility, so much going on,
Ah,
and I don't know. I it's not like I was super unbalanced, to be honest with
okay.
you, but
Okay. There you go.
there's I literally not allowed to do anything else but batch. Like, that's what our operating agreement says because we have partners and we've always been
Oh,
entrepreneurial, and, like, if I do
yes.
anything, I need approval from them, and they get 66% of it, so I don't do anything.
Wow.
We're gonna restructure that to where it's like, "Hey, this is the
Ah,
time that needs to be spent here." But, it's not all about money for me. It never has been, and I love helping people. I love sharing my story. I love telling people what not to do when they're getting started, or when they're along the journey, definitely going through the process of a sale, being able to let them kind of know what to look for, where to focus,
yeah.
and getting on some other boards and learning some other industries and I just like to learn, honestly,
Yeah,
Greg.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, there's other stuff I want to learn and other things I want to get passionate about. So
Awesome.
not saying I'm not extremely passionate, want to grow the shit out of this. That don't get that twisted, but there's still other things that interest me that I want to do as well. And if this is all I do and I grow it to hundreds of people, I won't have time to do those other things. And I just, kind of life shifts.
Yeah.
And, I still have friends that want to go are hell bent on growing $100 million company. And I was like, you don't understand the sacrifices you're going to have to make to get there. But I don't want to make those. I'll go sell three, four, five, six companies for 30 to $60 million. Happy to do something like that. But
Great.
I just I that's not my desire, I guess.
So I know you're part of the masterminds. It's a learning environment. It's very energized, and you've been a learner to figure all this out and do well with it. What advice do you have for a founder that says, "I know this industry. I see this opportunity. I've built this product. It's going." What you know they're getting started on their, let's say, practical founder journey. What advice do you have most often for those founders based on your experiences?
That's a great question. Have a good grasp on, if you don't have partners or if you do, like, make sure whoever's in your business, make sure you understand, like, how to hold people accountable, how to have the proper KPIs in place. Because a lot of people I see will delegate before they understand what to do or what to report on or what to get reported to. They'll just be like, "All right, do it." And then you have someone telling you that they may or may not be doing a good job with that marketing campaign or your sales team or their conversion rate. Like, if you don't know it and you delegate it, you actually don't know. Like, your employees are always going to make themselves look as good as possible. So,
Mhm.
like, my advice is always, like, get in and get your hands dirty, and at the beginning, do the work. Like, you have to do the work. You have to know the stuff. You have to have a foundation, know the stuff. Then start hiring the people smarter than you that are better than you at it, and you'll still have enough knowledge to make sure that you're not getting bullshitted by somebody.
And it will improve, and somebody could do a great job with it, and so forth.
Exactly.
Did any of those employees that came in and figured things out and took the next challenge, did they grow up to be leaders of the team, or were you growing so fast that you had to bring in leaders who had been at that level before? That's a very common challenge, but
Both.
how did you experience that? Yeah.
We brought on people and they ended up just being like, our CTO ended up being our CTO, or, our early on guy that early, you get early titles when you're growing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. Our CTO, our head of product, we brought in a chief marketing officer, but we went through trying to elevate a couple marketing people. They
Yeah.
just weren't quite it. Went through 3 or 4 salespeople, weren't quite
Yeah.
it. They kind
Yeah.
of got us to where we needed to get to, couldn't get us to where we needed to go. But for the last, like, 2.5 years, I believe that team has been fully in place, which has been nice, but
Oh,
it,
great.
it took a little time.
Yeah, of course it does. Well, what a crazy adventure, growing to 35 million, the market changed, having your portfolio, selling off a piece of it, learning so much along the process, and, re-energized with the next phase of your journey. Have you digested kind of where you are right now with all of this, or is it still, amazingly new, closing the deal and
I mean,
making all this happen.
you could see I'm happier than probably last time you spoke with me. But the happiness comes from the hard work, and knowing I'm putting both sides of the company in opportunities to grow. Like
Yeah,
that's what I'm most excited about, and not
yeah,
having the burden of just, it was too much with too many product lines, and being able to let PropStream go focus on this, me go focus on that. But like the employee count have been retracting, and now they're going to go over there, and there's going to be needed to be roles for managers and this and that, and we need a few more people for
yeah,
this B2B side. But like, we want to be lean and mean, and the team there, and some of the people, like our revenue operations person that we brought with us, she's like, I have one product. Like, oh my God, like this is so amazing. Like, and our Salesforce admin, she's like, so I don't have to do this for 3 products now. Like, I could
yeah,
focus here, and we could be strategic, and we could work on some billing things, and all the people that are staying on batch data, they could drill deep and hard and actually work on stuff that they wanted to work on, instead of like surface level all over the place. So I'm most excited that the opportunities that we're getting in the future for both sides of the business, and there's some people that were invested in this sale, and I could say some
yeah.
lives have been changed, and
Hey, great.
I'm very excited. My life, there's some more money in the bank, but I wouldn't say it was life changing for me. It was nice, and it gives me and my family more comfort. But like, my sister was one of the first handful of people, and she got something, and I think it's going to be pretty good for her. And I'm excited to see how she spends it, how she invests it. And actually, I'm not excited to see, because I basically said I'm taking over her finances over the next like 2 years to set her up for success. But like, I just know, like, once she gets that, I know what it's gonna mean and how her life's gonna change, because I went through that.
Yeah,
Um, and there's a handful of other people that are getting something similar to that, to where I got to bring them in, sell them on a dream, and I get to really, really help them financially. And I'm excited to do it again on the other side too. So like, that's what
awesome.
really drives me. You kind of alluded to that earlier, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, great. Thanks for sharing that amazing story, Jesse. Congratulations on the sale of a chunk of your business and the refocusing on, the new exciting B2B side of your business. It's exciting to watch as you did it the practical founder way, and it isn't always a straight line, but that's really amazing.
Greg, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for watching this week's interview on the Practical Founders podcast. Be sure to like this episode and subscribe to the Practical Founders YouTube channel to keep up with my weekly in-depth interviews with serious software founders who are building valuable software companies without big funding. You can check out my blog, all the podcast episodes, and information about my Practical Founders CEO peer groups at practicalfounders.com, or message me on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect. See you next week.